Right. This is the workspace which I created yesterday in Eclipse. So I'll use the same workspace. Hold on, let it launch. And yesterday we talked about basics of Java, downloading the jar files of Selenium, and I simply told you what an object is. You can create the object of a class, and similarly I created the object of the Firefox driver class and initialized it. Fine. In case anybody has got any questions, right, you can feel free to ask questions. You can move your mouse on the top, there will be a participants tab. You can click on that, all the participants will be available. You can unmute yourself, ask a question, or there's a chat facility available on the top menu. If you move your mouse on the top, you'll get a menu. So you can ask the question through chat as well. Okay. Right. So this was the project which I made yesterday, day 1, and I just took a simple example of Selenium and I created the object of Firefox driver classes. Right. Now you can also work with the browser supported right now are in Selenium. Right now Chrome, IE, Firefox and Safari, these are the 4 browsers supported. Okay, to work on Safari browser you have to register with Apple as a developer, then only you can work with Safari as Safari with Selenium. Moreover, Selenium Webdriver is not so stable with Safari. Chrome, IE and Firefox it works the best, but with Safari it is not stable. Okay, now I'm going to create a new project today and call that project day 2. It supports i9, i8 as well, i6 as well. I am working on a server right now. I have i6. You will see that it will run on i6 as well. Okay, so right now yesterday I told you I had created this class city and I had created a class called test city in which I had made the objects of that city class. Similarly, on the same lines, suppose I'll create a new class today, name that class bank, right? Or I'll name that class as say planet, right? A very simple class called planet which has a variable name defined inside it, right? So yesterday I told you that you can create another class, say I create test planet and with the main function inside it, and yesterday what I did was I created the objects of the class. We create the object like this, planet p1 equals to new planet, right? And you write p1 dot name is planet A, suppose, right? And similarly planet p2 equals to new planet, right? p2 dot name is B. So in the memory what happens is that 2 objects are formed. We had seen that both the objects will have the name variable. One will be A, the other one will be B, and both the objects will have object references known as P1 and P2. Right, so this is what we did. Hold on, this is B. Okay, now suppose in the planet class I go and make a function known as public void rotate. Okay, and in this I'll just print planet rotating plus the name of the planet. Fine. Now you can write over here p1 dot. When you write dot, you will get the function rotate inside p1 as well, plus p2 dot rotate you will also get. This means if I am creating a function, right, if I am creating a function over here called as rotate, okay, then this rotate function will be available in both the objects. Okay, when planet A calls the rotate function, it will print the planet A of the name of planet A, and planet B calls it, it will print the name of planet B. So if you run this test planet, you can run this by clicking over here, run. If you run this, this will print in console planet rotating A and planet rotating. Okay, right? Simple. Again, if similarly we'll look at Selenium now. I'll create a new class called as browsers, and in this I'm sorry, yesterday I told you that you can create the object of Firefox driver class, which is an internal class in Selenium API. But to include this class, you first have to include the jar files of Selenium in your project. Yesterday I had explained you how to include the jar files, right? You have to download them and then right click on the project, go to properties, go to Java build path, and in this every project you create, you have to add the jar files separately. Okay, so I'll add the jar files for Selenium out here, these two jar files, and apart from that, these all jar files. Okay, and then move my mouse over this error and you will get the option import Firefox driver. So you import this, on the top line is import line. This is imported from one of the jar files, right? These are all the Selenium jar files. In one of the jar files, this class is lying, right? If I write d1 dot get is a function similar to a function like rotate function in planet, right, where we call p1 dot rotate or p2 dot rotate. Out here you can write the Firefox driver d1 dot rotate, d1 dot get http. This we had done yesterday, right? bbc.com, and this was navigating to BBC. Firefox was opening and it was navigating to BBC. Hold on. Right. So you see that bbc.com is opening. Okay. Now, how to work on Chrome? If you look at the documentation of Selenium, if I go to Google and just type download Selenium, and if I look at this and you look at the documentation of Selenium by going to Java docs over here. Hold on. Right. So this is the Java doc for Selenium. Okay. And in all the classes, there is one of the class named as Chrome driver. Okay. Hold on. Yeah. This is the class Chrome driver. This class is responsible for implementing the controls on Chrome browser. Okay. So now how to use this class? If like Firefox driver, if I write over here Chrome driver d2 equals to new Chrome driver. Okay. And just by creating you have to import it as well. I have imported it on the top, right? Look, if I remove these import statements, I will get errors. So you have to move your mouse over the errors and select the import option, right? The shortcut to import in Eclipse, right? The shortcut to import is Control Shift O, Control Shift and O, right? So it will import everything. Shortcut to import is Control Shift O. It will import everything. Now after creating the object of Chrome driver, if I write d2.get to the URL http, the protocol is very important. Sometimes people, they simply write the site name. This will throw an error. Don't just write the site name or don't just write www. Write the protocol http yahoo.com. This is important. Okay. Now if you run this, I'll just comment out this part. It will, that means making this code ineffective. Now my Chrome should open and it should take me to yahoo.com, but if you run this, you will get an error. Illegal path exception. Okay, and always don't be afraid of these kinds of errors. Always read them carefully. Okay. It says that the path to driver executable must be set by webdriver.chrome.driver. Okay. So to do that, right? To do that, actually you need to download an exe file provided by actually the Chrome guys to work on Selenium, right? You have to go to this particular link. I give this link to everybody on WebEx chat. I'm giving this link to everybody, and depending on your operating system, download the Chrome driver for Mac, Linux, Windows, right? So this is the latest version for Windows. I'll download this. You need to download this, and hold on, let it download because I also don't have it on my system right now. And you download the latest version of Chrome driver, and extract it, extract the zip file, right? In this you will find a Chrome driver.exe. Don't execute it, you will not get anything from executing it, right? Make sure that Chrome is also installed on your PC. Don't think that this will work without installing Chrome. Make sure Chrome is installed and you have this Chrome driver.exe. And then you need to set this system property. Okay. You need to write over here before opening Chrome system.set property webdriver.chrome.driver, and in this you can set the property as the path to this exe. Chrome driver.exe, you can place the path. That is, I am setting the system property webdriver.chrome.driver, and in Java if you give path, you have to give // right? So I set the system property webdriver.chrome.driver and to the path of exe. Now if I run this, You see that Chrome opens and it is taking me to yahoo.com. Fine. So this is how Chrome driver it works. You have to set a system property. Apart from this, if you go to your project and refresh your project, you will see a Chrome driver.log. This log is generated automatically by Chrome driver under your current project.
Hi Ashish, sorry to interrupting you.
Yeah, Balaji.
Ashish, as you're currently you're executing, for example, in your local machine, you are setting up this set property of Chrome driver pointing to your local machine where you downloaded your exe.
Yes.
But using the grid or the WebDriver, if you want to, you said it yesterday, if you want to execute into multiple machines, then you drive it from your own central console. If you are executing 10 different machines, then how to set this?
Generally what we do is that we keep it under the project. Okay, in my day 2 project, now I'll first make the question very clear. Okay, in a very raw format, the question being asked is, what if I change the location of this project tomorrow, right? Or what if the location of this exe changes, right? Every time I cannot just hard code this path, alright? So what we do practically is that under the current project only we make a folder. I'll right click on the project and go to new folder, not in the source folder but on the project. I'll right click and create a new folder and I'll name that folder as Chrome driver. Okay, right, and inside this Chrome driver folder I will keep the exe. I'll copy this exe, right, and I will keep this exe under this Chrome driver folder. Okay, now if I go back to my program, right, now the path would look a little different, right? The path would be this particular path, the path of the project. Okay, just give me 1 minute. I'll tell you how to remove the hard coding. Just a minute. The path would be under the project day 2. There is a folder Chrome driver, and under that Chrome driver.exe. In Java you have to give double slash, right? But again, this is hard coding the path. Even though I have put Chrome driver.exe under the project, still I am kind of hard coding. Tomorrow if I change the location of this project, then it will create a problem, right? If you run this again, it will work fine. It will go to yahoo.com. It is going, but the problem remains the same. How can I make this dynamically so that it always picks up the right path of this Chrome driver.exe even if the location of the project changes? Now in Java we have got many system properties. I am setting this system property webdriver.chrome.driver. There is an inbuilt system property. If you write system dot, you get property function. Okay, if you get the property user.dir, this property will give you the current path of project. For example, I write over here string path equals to this and system.out.println path. Now if I run this, Chrome opens, fine, it goes to Yahoo, that's good, but in your console output you will see that the path of the current project is printed. This is because of this system property user.dir. Okay, so what I can do is I can make the path like this. Hold on. I can make a variable. Hold on. I can delete this part from this path and I can write this thing, system.getProperty user.dir plus. That means this will give me the path of the current project dynamically. Even if I change it tomorrow, this will give me the path, and after this you give the path of the exe inside your project. So even if I go and change the path of my project tomorrow, this will, or if I give this project to you and you actually take this project in your Eclipse, fine, then in that case as well you will be able to execute it no matter where you keep this project. So in Grid also, when we give the path of exes and all, we keep all these exes under the current project. You got my point, Balaji? If I run this now, this thing will work.
Yes, Ashish, thanks.
So now this is about working on Chrome. You need to download the exe for Chrome driver, and you need to keep it under, keep it anywhere, but practically in the projects and all, we keep it under the project only. And in case of Internet Explorer, again there is a driver known as Internet Explorer driver b2 equals to new. I create the object of that driver. Look, I am having i6 on my machine, that even a server operating system, so there's some issue with it. Just hold on, I need to uninstall from my server something. Just wait a minute too. Now I have uninstalled that component, fine. So now you create the object of Internet Explorer driver, okay, and you write over here d3.get http gmail.com, fine. You need to import Internet Explorer driver as well if you are working with it, fine. I'm going to comment out this complete code right now so that we just work with I. Right now, if you run this again, this thing opens this, Gmail, fine. But you know, in many machines you will get an error. And out here also I'm getting a warning that the path of driver executable must be set by webdriver.i.driver system property. Look, the thing is, for Internet Explorer driver also, there is an exe path similar to the exe path of exe for Chrome driver. So you need to download that exe, right? Just hold on. Just a minute. Yeah, the Internet Explorer driver server. You need to download this, depending like on 32-bit or 64-bit machine, and 32-bit or 64-bit I. You need to download. I have got 32-bit I, so I'll download it from here. Okay, so you download the zip file, and okay, that file is old now. Hold on, they have the wrong file path on this. Just a minute. You need to go to this URL. On this URL, I am giving this URL to everybody on WebEx chat, right? I have given it to everybody. There are various files: 64-bit machine iDriver, 32-bit machine iDriver, right? So, what will happen is that if you, in my case, I'll download this one, and yeah, it will work with i9 as well. Okay, and this is the one iDriver.exe. Okay, so what I'll do is, in my current project only, like I made a folder for Chrome driver, I'll make a folder for iDriver and keep the exe inside it. Okay, and what I'll have to do is that I'll have to set this system property. So this is set by system dot set property, this WebDriver dot I dot driver property, and value would be the same commands, system dot get property user dot dir. That means under the current project, right, there is a folder called iDriver, and inside it this is the file. If you press F2, you will get the option to rename the file. I'll just copy this from here and get this. Okay, now if you run this will not give you any error or something. It will again have, but in my case it is navigating to Gmail without the driver and with the driver itself, but in case of i9 or i8 you will get an issue. Okay, so you have to put this path. Again, one more thing, okay, turn off protected mode in i8 and i9. It's not basically turning off, the protected mode has to be at the same level, but I turn it off whenever I am working with i8 or i9. It is very simple to turn it off. You just go to Google and type and search for how to turn off protected mode in i8 or something. You'll get the instructions and all, everything. Make sure that you turn it off. Okay, now I'm sorry. So this is how you can work with iDriver as well. Fine. Now to work with Safari, we have Safari driver, but the problem is that it's not stable, and I really don't recommend you working with that right now. Wait for at least 1 or 2 more releases. I guess Safari driver would be more stable and you can work with it. Okay. Now Opera driver, for Opera, right? For Opera, the driver is there, but it is not by Selenium, guys. It is not by Selenium, guys. If you look at the documentation of Selenium, if you write over here, not the documentation actually, if you write over here, download Selenium, and if you go to the download link, if you look at this thing over here, third-party browsers not supported developed by Selenium HQ. These are the third-party drivers. Opera is one of them, and Opera driver is not developed by Selenium, guys. It is developed by Opera guys only. Okay, Opera driver can be found as part of Selenium browser automation framework, and if you look at this, page not found. Okay, anyways, look, that's the thing with Opera driver. It's not at all stable, not at all. Safari is still stable. Only thing is pop-up handlings and other stuff, they don't work on Safari, but if you just have to do normal browsing, then Safari driver is stable. Okay. Anyways, but if you look at the whole scenario, then there are each and every browser has a particular driver. Firefox driver for Firefox, Chrome driver for Chrome, and iDriver for I. Right. Now the question arises that if I have to click a link on Internet Explorer and if I have to click a link on Chrome or Firefox, will the procedure be different? Firstly. Secondly, will I have to remember the functionality, each and every functionality of all the drivers? Suppose tomorrow some new browser comes up, for that browser a new driver comes up. So will I be able to, like, should I be creating or should I remember all the features of all the drivers? Right? So for that, okay, basically for that, the answer is no, you should not be doing that. The concept of interfaces in object-oriented programming solves this problem. Okay. So tomorrow if 10 more drivers come up, right, will I be responsible for learning the features of those driver classes as well? Right? It's like, no, it's not like that. what I will do is I'll tell you the concept of interfaces now, and then I will come back to Selenium and tell you how Selenium implements that concept. It's very important to understand the architecture of Selenium Webdriver. So that's what I'm talking about right now. I'll start with the architecture by explaining you the concept of interfaces. Fine. So what I'll do is I'll right click on my source folder and create a new interface out here. Okay, and I'll suppose I'll name my interface as a simple interface like phone. Okay, so phone is the interface, right? And in this interface, what is an interface? Interface is just something which describes what your application is supposed to do. It will not actually implement everything. It will not actually have definition of it. It's just like the example which I give every time. It's just like the a la carte menu. When you go to a restaurant to have your food, you are presented with a small menu wherein you decide with what you have to eat and all everything. So interface is like that. In this interface, you have got functions, but functions do not have bodies. You'll have like public void call, public void switch off. So functions like these are two functions in the interface phone. I am not having bodies of the interface. Sorry, I am not having the bodies of this particular these particular functions in the interface. Okay, I'm just declaring the functions. Right now, what I'll do is I'll make another class. So just looking at this interface, I can tell what the phone application is supposed to do. Okay, just a minute, guys. I'll just mute my right. So right, okay. Now when suppose I now create a new class called Nokia phone. Okay, right. Now Nokia phone is a phone. It should implement all the features of a phone.